we are way more likely to do something if we're doing it with someone, right? Or if someone else is at least paying attention to whether we do it, right? Sometimes I think with the one-on-one coaching work that I did, there were times where I feel like 50% of the value I provided was that I was somebody they had to sort of report to. For some people, that's really important.
Agreed.
Now, other people, it doesn't make any difference. They don't give. I mean, it's like they'll tell me, no, I didn't do it 100 times. They don't care, right? But for many people, that support and how that support looks and that accountability looks different, and different people are going to be different, but we're way more likely to make a change if we are being supported in that change, or we are doing that change with someone else. That's a big one. I mean, your other question is a deeper one, which is like, how do we stop self-deceiving ourselves?
Yeah.
And good God, I mean, I don't know that I've got a short answer to one of life's most vexing problems, but some of it does go back to competing commitments, right? It is like, I say I want to change, but in what ways am I invested in not changing? What's it going to feel like when I say, you know what, I want to stop spending 2 hours on TikTok in the evening, and yet I'm invested. There's a reason I'm spending 2 hours on TikTok in the evenings. What is that reason? What am I getting? How invested am I in changing? And then there's just a certain matter of, we have to, how do we become honest with ourselves? This is one of the hardest things. Particularly, I've worked with a lot of people who are, let's say they have severe depression, or they have chronic pain, or they have some other thing that makes it really hard to know, am I just giving myself an excuse and an out? Or do I need to be compassionate towards myself that this is the best I can do? Those are very difficult to sort out. And ultimately, as a coach, all I could do was ask that person questions. Only they can know. I can't decide, like, was your pain bad enough today that you shouldn't work out or not? Only you can know that. I can ask you questions. I can push you to be honest. But and this is back to that, if somebody's going off the ditch to the right, push them to the left. If they're going off to the left, push them to the right. Because what some clients I found what they needed was a little bit, I needed to put the screws to it just a little bit more. You can do better than this. I think maybe you might be not telling yourself the whole truth. There are other people who are so hard on themselves that what they need from me is, it's okay.
The model that like more compassionate.
Yeah.
Side.
And so knowing, to apply this to ourselves, what kind of person am I? Am I a person who tends to let myself off the hook too easily? Well, then maybe I at least want to contemplate that that's what I'm doing again, because that's what I tend to do. Am I a person who just berates myself for any little mistake? If so, what I might want to do is be like, you know what? You didn't work out today. It's not a big deal. It's okay. Like, we just have days like that, right? So what's my tendency can tell me what direction to correct in. There's a term in spiritual circles called discernment, which basically means, how do I figure out things that are difficult? But I mean, to me, that's what it means. Like, we're only trying to discern. We're not trying to discern what to have for dinner, right? We're trying to discern, like, is this the right partner in my life? And my opinion is discernment happens in community. It happens in conversation with other people. So these things that you're talking about here they're hard to know, because you're right. We are evolved to deceive ourselves, right? I mean, there's a fair amount of science out there that shows like there's actual reasons why we evolved to deceive ourselves. Because if we don't even know the truth, you can't know the truth about my motivation. So to me, it's about having people that I know and I trust, and I can ask the difficult questions of and say, what do you think? And just talk it through.
Really, it's done in communion, really, like in community. And that idea of change with support, because I'm a member of a men's group. If I try to bullshit my men's group, they're like, hell no. Like, you're not getting away with mediocrity. You're not getting away with not keeping your commitments that you made to the group. There's certain values that we have agreed upon and certain ways that we've agreed to be approached. That there is a general agreement in the 8 of us that's like, we give consent ahead of time.
Yeah.
That you can, this is what I actually, that's the kind of intervention I know I need. And of course, I think we all need, as you said, different types of interventions based on our slippery habit, or that we are too hard on ourselves. It's interesting because essentially what I feel like you're saying is the community is modeling the healing of whatever their adaptive strategy is, which is really interesting. Like the self-loathing or the letting themselves off the hook, that the community and you as an interventionist specifically in those relationships are modeling like what a healing relationship to self would be, which is, gosh, when I think about even changing any behavior, it's so necessary that we're surrounded by other people who are regulated, who are champions, but also who are like, average you ain't gonna cut it anymore.